Good morning, everyone. Hello. Yes, good morning, everyone. And today is Monday and 19th of October. Okay, and we'll have to begin with a new chapter, and that is chemical kinetics. Okay, I'll be sending you some reasoning questions on WhatsApp on amines and in fact, some jumbled up questions from carboxylic acid, aldehyde, ketones, and amines. Okay, some reasoning questions which you can practice, and those which you will not be able to understand, we will discuss in the online class. All right, so today we will start with chemical kinetics. Now, as you know, in chemical kinetics, we basically deal with the rate of reaction. Now, what happens in the lab, as you have observed, some of the reactions are very fast, some are slow, and some are at a normal speed, right? So, if the reaction is very fast, you cannot determine the rate of reaction. And if the reaction is very, very slow, like taking several days to complete, like the radioactive disintegration of various elements, okay, so all the radioactive reactions, they are very, very slow. Rusting of iron, very, very slow. So we cannot study about those reactions. We cannot study about the rate of those reactions. Therefore, those reactions will not be covered under the chapter of chemical kinetics. Okay, so which reactions we are going to study, which have got moderate rate of reaction, like the reactions you are conducting in the lab, and you can note down the observations also. Okay, how much time it has taken for the reaction to be completed. If you can note down those details, then only you will consider those reactions for conducting experiments under chemical kinetics. And reactions, as I've told you, very fast means you just mix the two reactants and the product is formed, precipitate is formed. Now, how much time did it take to complete the reaction? That is under fractions of seconds. Okay, such reactions you cannot note down the readings, so they are not meant for the study of chemical kinetics, right? Okay, all right. So under chemical kinetics, the definition is chemical kinetics deals with the rate of chemical reaction, factors affecting the rate of chemical reaction. Which are the factors which affect the rate of chemical reaction? That means whether the rate of reaction will increase or decrease with the help of those factors, and mechanism of uh, by which the reactions take place, whether it takes place in one step or it takes place in several steps. So only this much part we have to cover under this chapter in your class 12 syllabus. Now following are the main aspects, okay, related to a chemical reaction. Now what are the questions which we normally ask about the chemical reaction? It is normal queries which we have. For example, whether the reaction is feasible or not. Now to explain you this, I am telling you some reactions, like so far we can write any two reactants and form the product by double displacement method, and that's what you have been doing in the junior classes. Okay, in class 7, 8, and 9 you can form any product, but it is not actually correct. You cannot just pick up any two reactants and make them react to form a product. Some of the reactions do not take place, they do not occur. Such reactions are not feasible. Okay, whereas the other reactions may be feasible. So, the first is feasibility of a reaction, whether the reaction will occur or it will not occur. There are two basic criteria for a reaction to occur, and this you have done under thermodynamics in class 11. If anybody remembers, what are the two criteria for feasibility of a reaction? Whether the reaction will occur or it will not occur. We can predict. Can you predict whether the reaction will occur or not? Okay. If for a given reaction, the value of Gibbs energy, delta G, is negative, such a reaction will be feasible. Okay, if delta G is negative, the reaction is going to be feasible. And I told you the second criteria is if the reaction proceeds with decrease in potential energy. I had given you the example of a stone, if it is rolled down the hill, okay, proceeds with decrease in potential energy. So it takes place on its own. That is, but that comes under physics. Okay. Any reaction which will proceed with decrease in potential energy is going to be spontaneous, feasible. It will proceed on its own. Okay. Or delta G is negative, or I have written here delta G is less than 0. Okay. At a given temperature. Now, this part, feasibility of reaction, comes under thermodynamics. It is not a part of your chemical kinetics. Then, next is to what extent a reaction will proceed. Okay. Suppose I start a reaction, and after a few minutes, maybe after 3 minutes, after 4 minutes, how much of reactant has converted into product? How much of reactant molecules have reacted to form the product? Now, if this has to be calculated, it will depend upon a number of factors, of course, but how much amount of product will be formed? Okay, this comes under chemical kinetics. So, how much, what is the extent of reaction? Okay, then first and the most important thing I'm reminding you here is there are two types of reactions, reversible and irreversible. What are reversible reactions? If I write it like this is irreversible reaction because of this arrow pointing in one direction, right? But if I write it like this becomes a reversible reaction. Okay, but if carbon dioxide is lost to the environment, the reverse reaction cannot take place. Okay, this reaction has to be carried out in a closed container. So then it becomes reversible. But in nature, if calcium carbonate decomposes to form calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, this reaction will be irreversible. Okay, irreversible reactions are covered under chemical kinetics, whereas this type of reactions are covered under equilibrium. This is your class 11 syllabus. Chemical kinetics is your class 12 syllabus. Okay, so we will not talk about reversible reactions in this chapter at all. Correct. Now, in this chapter, you will also study about order of reaction, molecularity of reaction. Okay, so these are some of the terms which I have introduced to you. Okay, what is meant by molecularity of a reaction? Total number of molecules of reactants taking part in a chemical reaction. Total number of reactant molecules taking part in a chemical reaction, that is known as molecularity of a reaction. Okay, for example, if PCl5 changes into PCl3, I'm carrying out this reaction in an open container. Closed container, it is reversible. Now, total number of molecules taking part on the reactant side is 1. So, molecularity is 1, or it will be called as unimolecular reaction. Okay? Alright. Similarly, if we have hydrogen and nitrogen, right, in a open container, this is going to form ammonia. Okay, what is the molecularity? 3 and 1. 4 is the molecularity of the reaction. Alright, so total number of reactant molecules taking part in a chemical reaction is known as molecularity of reaction. Okay, but sometimes what happens, there are 2 or 3 reactants, but all of them are not controlling the rate of reaction. The change in concentration of 1 or 2 reactants may change the rate of reaction. Such a reaction, okay, you can determine the order of such a reaction. It is the number of reactant molecules, the change in concentration of which will affect the rate of reaction. Okay, not all the molecules are going to affect the rate of reaction. Not all the reactants are going to affect the rate of reaction. If there are two or three reactant molecules, all right, then the number of reactant molecules, the change in concentration of which will affect the rate of reaction, that will be known as order of reaction. Okay, so we'll study in detail more. Today I'm just introducing you to what we have to cover under this chapter. All right, then types of chemical reactions which I was just talking about. There are instantaneous reactions. Instantaneous, I gave you example, mix two reactants, immediately it forms products, which you have been doing in salt analysis. All right, you just simply add, if there are chloride ions in the solution, add silver nitrate, you get a white ppt of silver chloride. This is instantaneous reaction, very fast. Okay, then very slow reactions, I have told you, they take days, weeks, and even months to complete, maybe years also, like radioactive disintegration. Okay, so such type of reactions, very fast and very slow, are not covered under this chapter. The reactions having moderate rate. Okay, so whatever reactions we'll talk about in this chapter, they are moderate rate of reactions. Their rate of reaction can be increased by increasing temperature. Okay, and other factors also, using a catalyst. So they are of industrial importance, and that is why we will study about rate of chemical reaction. What is the importance of this particular reaction in industry? Suppose we have to manufacture any particular product. Okay, so we should study that particular reaction in detail. Okay, how many molecules are taking part in the reaction in a given time and with given resource. That means how much, a limited amount of money is with us. So how can we achieve our goal of producing a particular quantity of product by changing the reaction conditions? This is the scope of this particular chapter. That is why we are going to study about them in detail. Okay, now like here some examples are given. Decomposition, I told you, means you heat the substance. Decomposition of water, ammonium nitrate, ammonium nitrite, N2O5, etc. Hydrolysis of sugar and ethyl acetate, etc. These are some of the examples which are the reactions which we will study about them in detail in this chapter. All right, what is the reason for difference in rate of reaction? Why do you think certain reactions are very fast and some are slow? Okay, it will depend upon, see, like first line says, the ionic reactions are instantaneous, where ions have to react. Suppose uh, we have got a reaction between water and sodium chloride. Okay, sodium chloride, as soon as you will dissolve in water, will break up into sodium and chloride ions, and water will break up into H and OH ions. Correct. Now what simply has to be done is, they simply combine with each other and form product. No bonds are to be broken, no new bonds have to be formed. This simply, it is electrostatic force of attraction which is there. So ionic reactions are instantaneous reactions. Okay, in lab, in salt analysis, I will repeat, in salt analysis, all reactions are ionic reactions. That is why you immediately get a precipitate. Okay, or as soon as you add the reagents, then what happens? Gas is evolved. So you cannot note down or take any readings for these particular reactions. So all the reactions which you have been so far doing in class 11, they were all ionic reactions in salt analysis and are instantaneous reactions. All right. Now in some other, in covalently bonded compounds, what will happen? First, energy is required to break the bonds, and then new bonds are formed in the product. In the reactants, the bonds are broken, and in the products, new bonds are formed. Okay, energy is first required and then energy is released. Now, what will happen if the net result, the value is delta H? You have done in thermodynamics, isn't it? If we have reactants and products, what will happen? On the reactant side, we require energy, and on the product side, the energy is released, and this side it is required. Now, what will be the net result? When the energy is released, it will be used on the reactant side for by other molecules, by new molecules. Now, if the net result, what is net result? The difference of the two, okay, will give us the value of delta H for a given reaction. This you have done in thermodynamics in class 11. If delta H is positive, what will happen? The reaction is endothermic. If delta H is negative, this is for endothermic reaction. If it is negative, it is exothermic. And all exothermic reactions are also spontaneous because they proceed with decrease in chemical energy, and chemical energy is a form of potential energy. Okay, so it is basically within the reaction how much energy is being used up. Okay, how much energy is required for the reactants to become reactive. They have to break the bonds. Okay, now if required energy is more, we will have to supply energy from outside. If the energy released is more, all right, that means some part of this released energy is already being used up by the reactants. Still excess energy is being given out. So exothermic reactions do not require any heat to start the reaction. Okay, that is the reason why they are spontaneous. They will happen on their own. Okay, whereas endothermic reactions, we will have to supply energy from outside. Now, so this is the reason why rate of reaction is different. There are two theories for rate of reaction. One is activation energy theory and the other is collision theory. Right? Now this year it has been deleted, but in between I will tell you about these theories because without this, it is the study about this chapter is incomplete. Now, what is meant by collision theory? See, the reactant molecules actually collide with each other. A and B are two reactants and their molecules are moving. They are going to collide with each other. So, what are the different types of collisions which are possible? Okay, if we have A and B, right? So, I have got molecules A and B, and they are in a given container. There are two reactants A and B, right? So we'll have a number of A molecules and a number of B molecules. Now, three types of collisions are possible. What are those? A will collide with A, B will collide with B, and A will collide with B. Okay? When A and A will collide, no product is formed because no new molecule is going to exist. B will collide with B, no new product is going to be formed. Okay, but when A will collide with B, product is going to be formed. When A will collide with B, product is going to be formed. Okay, all right. So we have two types of collisions. One is known as effective collision and the other is known as non-effective collision. What is meant by effective collision? These result in the formation of product. So the collision between A and B molecules will be effective. It is going to result in the formation of product. Okay, but collisions between AA non-effective. Okay, and this is BB also non-effective collision. So we in chemical kinetics we have to study only about effective collisions. If the effective collisions are more, the rate of reaction will be fast. But if the effective collisions, number of effective collisions per second, alright, if the number of effective collisions per second, that is also known as collision frequency, right? If number of effective collisions per second is less, the rate of reaction will be slow. So it is basically the nature of reactants and the collisions taking place between the reactants. How many effective collisions are taking place? That is going to tell us about the rate of reaction, because it is dependent on a number of factors like catalyst, like temperature, etc. So this particular uh, reason is the one which is responsible for difference in rate of reaction. All right. How do we define the rate of chemical reaction? Now, whatever I have discussed, that was introduction to our chapter. Why do we need to study about rate of reaction? Okay, and why the rate of reaction is different for different reactants. Sometimes it is slow, sometimes it is fast. Okay, but in this chapter we are going to study about the reactions with moderate rate. Okay, where we can find out or we can record the time taken for a reaction to reach completion. Now, what is meant by rate of a chemical reaction? The rate of a chemical reaction is equal to, okay, the change in concentration of any reactant or product per unit time. Now this can be measured with respect to reactants and product also. Change in concentration of reactant with respect to time, that is known as rate of a chemical reaction. As the reaction proceeds, the concentration of the reactant decreases and the concentration of the product goes on increasing. That is reactants changing into products. Concentration of reactants will go on increasing, decreasing. Reactants will decrease, products will increase. What is the initial concentration of the reactant? Suppose I take 1 mole of the reactant and there is only one reactant. So the molecularity of the reaction will be 1. Okay, it is changing into product. Then the reactant concentration will go on decreasing. The initial concentration of product is always 0. So when the reaction starts, no product is formed. So initial concentration of the product will be 0. The rate of reaction, okay, for the reactant will go on decreasing. For product it will go on increasing. So this is what I have written over here. Alright. Now R1 is supposed to be the initial rate of the reaction. It is the initial rate of reactants, alright, or initial concentration of reactants. In fact, this square bracket is stands for moles per liter. So it is the initial concentration of the reactant is R1, and for product it is P1. And I told you P1 is what? It is generally 0 in the beginning of the reaction. R2 is going to be the rate of final concentration of the reactant. Okay, and then this is for product. Now what is delta t? Delta t is the time, the change in time, t2 and t1. Suppose t1 was initial time when we started the reaction, it will be 0. T2 is the time when the concentration of the reactants and the products will be noted. Delta R is going to be R2 minus R1, and delta P will be P2 minus P1. Now rate of disappearance of R, as I told you, concentration of reactants will go on decreasing. So we can also say rate of disappearance, because reactants disappear and products appear. So rate of disappearance of R is equal to decrease in concentration of R upon time taken. Okay, decrease in concentration of R upon time taken. Now when we have decrease in concentration of R, how can you write the rate of reaction? We will write it over here. Rate will be equal to, okay, decrease concentration of reactant with respect to time, and here it will be change. Change in concentration of reactant with respect to time. Okay, but as we know, concentration of reactants will go on decreasing, so we will put a negative sign here, because delta R will be equal to, okay, change in concentration of R will be equal to R2 minus R1, or final minus initial. Final is less than initial, so the value will be negative. Then we have got, or we can also write, change in concentration of products with respect to time, and the value will be positive because product final concentration is going to be greater than the initial concentration. So this is how we can determine the rate of chemical reaction, with either with respect to reactant or with respect to product. With respect to reactant, the value will be negative because concentration of reactants decreases with time, and concentration of product increases with time, so the value will be positive. Okay, all right. Next we have got, rate of reaction is always positive. Now, what does that mean? See, the concentration of reactants is decreasing and products is increasing, but the rate of reaction is always going to be a positive value. Why? Because we know that the rate of reaction always increases. It is change in concentration of reactants or products with respect to time. The value is change. Alright. So the value of the rate of the reaction is always going to be positive, but change in concentration of reactants with respect to time is negative. Now what is going to be the unit of rate of reaction? What will be the unit? See, change in concentration of reactants, this, what will be the unit? Moles per liter, moles per liter, right? Per second, moles per liter per second. So this is going to be your unit of rate of reaction. This will be your unit for rate of a chemical reaction. Change in concentration determined as moles per liter, and with respect to time, that is second inverse, moles per liter per second. Okay, all right. Now there are two other terms which we have to be aware of. One is average rate of reaction and the other is instantaneous rate of reaction. What is meant by average rate of reaction? Now this word is average, is over a period of time. Average rate of reaction means over a period of time. Over a period of time. And instantaneous rate of reaction means at any particular instant. Instantaneous rate of reaction, okay, at a particular instant or time, at a particular instant or time. Okay, now let us start here. First, what is average rate of reaction? Okay, suppose the reaction started in, initial time was t is equal to 0. When we started the reaction, it was t is equal to 0. After 5 minutes, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, okay, what will happen? If we find out the rate of reaction, okay, at a span of 5 minutes, okay, what was the change in concentration of reactants and products between 5 minutes to 10 minutes? This is 5 minutes, okay. The change in concentration of reactants or products within this span of time will be known as average rate of reaction. This will be known as average rate of reaction. And rate of reaction when the time was t was equal to 10 minutes. This is at a particular time. This will be known as instantaneous rate of reaction. Or at 5 minutes also will be known as instantaneous rate of reaction. But if the rate of reaction is found out within this time span of 5 minutes and 10 minutes, then it will be known as average rate of reaction. Now, instantaneous rate of reaction cannot be measured, okay, with the help of any formula. Instantaneous rate of reaction cannot be measured with the help of any formula. It is determined graphically with the help of graph. If you draw tangent to any graph, okay, in chemical kinetics, we from there we can determine the instantaneous rate of reaction. Okay, how to determine the average rate of reaction? We will have to collect some experimental data. That means we'll have to conduct the reaction and take some reading and then plot a graph. Okay, this is the procedure, and the practicals which you have under chemical kinetics in your syllabus. All right, there you are conducting these experiments. So the rate of a chemical reaction usually decreases with time. Average rate is equal to the average change in the molar concentration of any reactant or product during a definite interval of time. So average rate of reaction is change in molar concentration upon the time interval, right? And instantaneous, I have just explained it to you. Instant is what? Instantaneous rate of reaction, that has to be determined experimentally. Okay, all right. For instantaneous rate of reaction, instead of writing delta, we write D. D stands for a very small change. If the value of delta is very very small, okay, so it leads to instantaneous rate of reaction. So it will be D, change in concentration of R with respect to time will be dt. Okay, again this will be negative with respect to reactants and positive with respect to products. So this is the only difference here in the formula. If we write delta, it is average rate of reaction. If we write small d, this is instantaneous rate of reaction. Okay, all right. Now let us go on to experimental determination of average rate and instantaneous rate of reaction. How do we experimentally determine the average rate of reaction? Okay, all right. So a small portion of the reaction mixture is taken out at definite intervals of time. It is cooled to 0 degrees to stop the reaction. Okay, it is called freezing of the reaction. That is, you start the reaction by mixing the reactants. After 5 minutes maybe, alright, you take out a sample of products to find out how much of reactant has changed into product. Okay, after 5 minutes. This will be known as freezing the reaction because you are stopping the reaction at that particular time. You are freezing the reaction to find out the concentration of reactants and products at that particular time. Okay, all right. Then similarly, you can do it after 10 minutes. You can do after 15 minutes. So you will be collecting the samples after definite interval of time and finding out the concentration of reactants and products. So after collecting that data, you are going to plot a graph. This is a graph between time and concentration of the reactant. Time and concentration of reactant. Now see, time was equal to 0. Concentration of reactant had some particular value. Here it is slightly less than 0.05. Okay, here it is slightly less than 0.05. As you can see, the time goes on increasing. Concentration of the reactant goes on decreasing. The concentration of the reactant goes on decreasing. If it was with respect to product, what will be the shape of the graph? It is going to be concentration of the reactants decrease, concentration of the products will increase. The graph will be like this. Okay, concentration of reactants decrease, concentration of products will go on increasing. So the shape of the graph is going to be this, and here average rate of reaction can be found out. you take any 2 points on the graph. We will take any 2 points on the graph and then drop perpendicular on the x-axis. So here I have dropped perpendicular at 5 and 15. Okay, this is time. Time is given in minutes. So 5 minutes and 15 minutes. What is the concentration at 15 minutes? 0.01. At 5 minutes, it is 0.03. Now we will find out the change in concentration of the reactant. It is going to be 0.03, okay, 0.01 minus 0.03. It is going to be 0.01 minus 0.03, so the value will come out to be negative. Delta T is going to be 15 minus 5, that is going to be 10. Okay, so x2 minus x1 upon t2 minus t1, this is going to give us the value of delta x upon delta t, which is going to be your average rate of reaction. So like this we can determine, plot a graph, then at any 2 points we can draw perpendicular on x and y axis, find out the value of delta x and delta t, and this will give us average rate of reaction. Okay, so today we will stop here, and so far what we have discussed, you can revise it, and I will be sending you the notes in the form of PDF, and you can revise this much part. So today I just introduced you to the chapter and what are we going to study in this chapter and what are the things which have to be kept in mind. Okay, so I will quickly just revise. See, under chemical kinetics, we study about rate of chemical reaction and factors affecting them. Moderate rate of reaction can be determined, all right, but very fast and very slow reactions are not covered under this chapter. Irreversible reactions are covered under this chapter. Reversible reactions are covered under equilibrium. Okay, feasibility of a reaction is not predicted under this chapter. It comes under thermodynamics, whether a particular reaction will take place or not, that comes under thermodynamics. Okay, now rate of reaction can be determined with the change in concentration of reactants or products. The concentration of reactants will go on decreasing and the concentration of products will go on increasing. We have two types of rate of reaction, that is average rate of reaction and instantaneous rate of reaction. Today we discuss about average rate of reaction and how to determine it experimentally. Okay, so with this we will stop our